So I just want to show you a few of the additional features available to you when you are using the new shapes that are available in Keynote. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing Control click, and then I've selected Make Editable. That means that image, I can select the circles and change the curves, or the squares and change the points. I can select part of the image and delete it entirely, or I can select part of the image and I can change that selected color. So this is a really nice feature because basically what it means is you can use the shapes as kind of your starting point. So you don't have to make something original right from the go, but you can jump in with some of these shapes and start playing around and customizing. So again, I can use each shape as sort of my rough draft. So if I select and then I go Control click and I select Make Editable, that means that I can go in and I can change features of the shape. So again, whenever you see the circle point, that's a curve. Square is more of a point. And I can use this to edit from there. So again, as you can see, what's really nice is I can customize that shape. And then if you've spent loads of time, you can actually then save the work that you've done and save to my shapes. And then once you rename it, basically that means the work that you've done, you can use again in the future. So you can customize any of the shapes, then save them, then add them to your library. Again, the slower directions for how to do that I'll leave in the description of this video. But for those of you thinking I don't have loads of time to play around with all of the shapes, in the long run it actually ends up saving you time. So if you know there are certain images that you will need to use again and again, you can develop them. And of course it's worth pointing out that then once you have a shape and you've customized it, of course you can simply copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And as you can see me doing right here, when you layer and add shapes and customize to get them to be what you want, you can really kind of create an image that is tailored to your needs. So again, I'm selecting the circle points, the curve, so that I can customize that mountain and I can make it look a little bit different. Then I can flip it horizontally. I have joined those two shapes together. Again, I'll leave the slower instructions for how to do that in the description. So you can, of course, customize a shape, copy, then you can join those two new shapes together. And then just using a good old-fashioned square and changing the color, I can kind of create the background for that image. So there's a lot you can do once you dig in and actually start layering with your shapes. And an added feature is, of course, the pen tool. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just starting with a triangle. I'm rotating that around. And of course, a great shortcut to rotate is just to select the Command key and hover across a point. That lets you rotate. Okay, so I'm going to customize this triangle, and maybe some of you can already guess what it is that I am building. Yes, I'm going to make an old-fashioned ice cream cone just using shapes. So the circle and the triangle are great, but once I actually go to and I select from basic, I'm going to use the pen tool. You can see this doesn't look really great, but I'm just doing the basic outline of that ice cream kind of dripping around the cone. And then I can go back in and I'm selecting my circle point so that I can add more of a curved effect, like so. And then lastly, I'm going to join that point to the first one to complete my brand new shape, and I will fill it with the same color. I can still go back in and customize to make that look a little bit more realistic. But again, what's nice is I've kind of created my own illustration, and then once I've joined that shape, I can just copy paste. I can change the color of it if I would like. So again, just really within a moment or so, you can create your own original images. Not bad. Now also you have the option to trace. So I know that I want to make a paintbrush. I'm trying to do it on my own right here, but as you'll see, I find it a little difficult. What's really nice is actually with shapes, if you find kind of a mentor text or you find an image that you can kind of use as a guide, you can go ahead and add that in and use it to sort of trace over top of. It's kind of a nice easy cheat that ends up allowing you to produce work that just looks a little bit better, or if you're lost, it kind of guides you and points you in the right direction to start. So again, using the benefit of shapes, then make editable. I can go in and I can customize and I can make that look a little bit better. So here I am adding some paint. And of course, there are websites where you can use the images that are attribution free. You know, I talk about pixels all the time. So you might want to go in and add a little bit of a background. You can have some fun with that. Or I might decide to simply copy paste the image that I've created. I can flip it horizontally, give it a nice plain background, and voila, I've created my own image.